Okay, this is a follow-up video to the previous two videos. 2 videos ago, we made a frequency distribution table in Excel. In the previous video, we made a histogram in Excel. In this video, I want to go through some different tricks that I found that you can use when making your frequency distribution table or histogram. So, okay, here's the statistics. Here's the batting average column. To make the frequency distribution table, we started by getting the minimum, maximum, and range from all of the batting average data. One thing you can do is you can highlight the range and give that range a name. So I'm going to say BA for batting average. And then I typed in BA and pressed enter. And so now all you need to do is you say equals min, and instead of having to go highlight it each time, you just type in BA. Max BA, and then range was the max minus the min. And if you come to formulas and go to name manager, you can see you can create names for ranges here. And if I wanted to delete that name, I could delete it. Just press delete. You can edit the range, things like that. Okay, so then what we did was we chose the number of bins, and that's just a judgment call. So number of bins, and we said 10 just to make it easy. So with the number of bins, we could calculate the bin width, which was the range divided by the number of bins. And then from there, we determine the bin endpoints. It starts at the minimum, 0.237. And then you take this plus the bin width, press F4, and then just drag this down and then cut off everything after 0.309. And that's the bin endpoints. Okay, then we created the distribution table. And the batting average column is the bin labels, right? And we manually typed all of those out. So in other words, here I put 0.237, 0 to 0.2442. And I would put bracket, like a bracket and a parentheses. It was a left endpoint convention. And then 0.2442 to 0.2514 and put, and I manually typed all of those out. But you can use a formula here. If you have a big distribution table, I found a way that you can use a formula and copy the formula. So you can combine text and cell references in an Excel formula. So, okay, I want to use a bracket. We're gonna do left endpoint convention. So what you do is, to use text, you put parentheses. You put the text within parentheses, okay? So here's that bracket, close parentheses. Now I want to put this number. To combine text and a cell reference, you use and, the and symbol. Like that. Now we want this to copy, so I'm not going to press F4. Then press and again, and what's next? A dash. So do parentheses, dash, parentheses, and now click here. And parentheses, or no, not parentheses, quotation marks, close parentheses. So you use quotation marks to designate that it's text. You see? Now if I copy this, there we go. Now here at the end, we want a bracket on 0.309, so just come to this cell and change it. Okay, now the count, there's also a way that you can use cell references and copy the count formula down as well. So, okay, we still use the count if formula. The range is just BA, so that's nice. We can just reference the range name. So the endpoint convention is including the right endpoint. So what you do is you say quotation marks greater than, we're not going to say equal to, close quotation marks, put and then put your cell reference, comma. Oh, wait, no, this is count ifs. Sorry. Count ifs. Because we're using more than one criteria. Okay, so there's that. It's going to search in this range, in this this cell block, and count if it's greater than, not equal to, it's because we're not including the left endpoint, this cell reference. And that, you can see that's going to copy. That cell reference is going to copy. Now, criteria 2, that's the range, quotation, less than, equal to, close quotation, and the right endpoint, close parentheses. Okay, and there you go. Now, there should be 11, but the reason is because we want to include actually the left endpoint here, and we want to include the right endpoint here. But for your first cell, just put in the endpoint convention, copy the formula through all of the bins, and then we'll come back to the first and the last cell and adjust it. So we copy this down. It does the calculation. See how it copies the formula? Now come back to the first cell. This is an equals to, right? And then here, this is, well, no, this is right. Or no, this needs to be equals, wait. Oh, wait, no. Okay, I'm sorry. The endpoint convention is we include the left endpoint and don't include the right endpoint. So now I'm going to copy this down. All of these are correct. Now here, we include the left and right endpoint just for the last cell. Okay, now get the sum of all of these. And then the percent, the count. Okay, now another thing I want to show you is you can use cumulative percent. We haven't talked about this in the textbook, but this is an option that you can use in a histogram. So cumulative percent. And what this is you say, so we want to, like, right here it's 11 divided by 154, so 7.1%. Then here it's 22 plus 11 divided by 154 as a percent. So you can do this by, you say, so sum, and the range you put is this cell, and we want to fix this. Whoa, no. F4. Fix that reference. Okay. Colon, and then just click that cell again, but don't fix the reference because we want this to copy. And so what happens is, see here it's K6 to K7. It's summing these two. Now it's summing these three. Okay, so but what we do is we say that sum divided by this count F4, and then that's going to be a percent. That's the cumulative percent. Okay, and so you might find this useful in a histogram to see how fast the cumulative percent progresses. Okay, so now to include the cumulative percent in the plot of the histogram, we need to use the column chart method. So create a 2D column chart. We'll use the percent. Okay, put the data labels. Okay, now double click on the series and put the gap to 0. And before, in the previous video, I left a gap of like 2%. And I was just trying to create a border because you'll see histograms with borders, but technically a histogram, I'm a little confused by this, but a histogram, it shouldn't have gaps in the between the bins, because that's supposed to indicate like the data is continuous. But what you can do is you put this to 0 and then put a border, a white line or a black line. We'll do a black line like that. Okay, now what you do is you select data, add another series, and put the cumulative percent. Okay, but now you want to come to, it looks like it took away the gap widths. You double click and you double click on that series, the new series, and make it a secondary axis. Then you right click and you change this series chart type, go to a line, and you can choose whatever kind of line you want, but we'll use a line with markers. And okay, no. I'm going to change, just the secondary axis. Yeah, you could do that here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and so this is the cumulative percent, and this is the histogram percent. So you would put your axis labels appropriately, and so now we can right click and on the histogram and say add data labels. You could right click on the cumulative percent and put data labels. You just have to adjust the formatting. So in the previous videos, we talked about how to make a histogram with insert histogram. And we also talked about using the 2D column. I guess using the 2D column is probably the way to go because you have the most versatility. You have the most kind of freedom. These pre-programmed features like this, you're kind of restricted because I couldn't find a way to add a secondary axis with histogram, to add a cumulative percentage line. It's restricted. But anyway, so yeah, with this video combined with the previous two videos, you should have all the tools you need to make histograms in Excel.